Hello everyone, it's Sloth here, and today we are doing a very special deck. For you it's just one of the videos for MTG Arena, but for me it's deck that I've been playing in different variations for over a year. I always loved it, and it's so weird and it's so fun in a way, and I'm pretty sure you never met such a deck. So already you can see the main villain here, or the culprit is Lich Mastery. So yes, this is a Lich Mastery deck, and I really tried to make this card work in different decks, and I think I succeeded in a way, because what this does is, for everyone that doesn't know, it's hexproof. You cannot lose the game. It gets worse. Whenever you gain life, draw that many cards. But whenever you lose life, for each one life you lost, exile a permanent you control or a card from your hand or graveyard. So basically you trade every single damage for one of the cards that you've used in some way or have in hand. And when this leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So of course, when you don't have any cards in the graveyard, hand, or the game, you need to sacrifice this, and it leaves the game. So usually the death is very painful, and I really like the flair of this card. Like it fits the Lich. Anyway, so what this card does is it gives you cards for gaining life. So this enables us to make a full deck around life gain, and it still is good because you can trade every single life gain for a card. So for example, here you have Revitalize. It's draw a card. But if you have Lich Mastery on the board, it's actually 2 mana, draw 4 cards. The same goes for this. It's draw 4 cards and learn. This one draws 5 cards. So as you can see, it gets really crazy very soon. And the whole deck is built around the idea that after you play the Lich Mastery and survive the turn, you should win, and you usually will. So the only trigger that you need to have is have this card in the play and survive one turn and have something of this kind. Because if you have one of those cards, you usually chain all the others. And like with 8 mana, or 6 if you really played it on curve, so you pretty much play it, and next turn you have 7 mana because you will hit a land. You can play this and this and this, and it's like 18 cards or something like crazy like this. So even if the enemy has a full board and you even don't clear it, you still have 15, 18 extra cards. This goes to graveyard, so we can still exile it. So the next big attack, even if hits for 15 or 20, you can often survive those. And moment you get the sweeper, the game is completely over. Okay, and now it gets even better with this deck. And sorry for the rambling, but this deck is so unique, and if you ever play it, it just feels so strange compared to all the other decks, and fun, that I think it really deserves some love. So you will see that the Lich, what it does, it's 5 mana for 3, not very impressive. If you draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of the library, and you basically take 1 and put 2 into the graveyard. And if you pay for life without any mana, it gains indestructible until end of the turn, and you tap it, so it cannot really block. Okay, so what this does, some of you might already noticed, if you have this, and you play, for example, Ritual of Rejuvenation, you gain 5 cards, and they will be selected from 15 top cards of your deck. So this deck actually can pretty much cycle itself multiple times per turn if you have some mana and this Lich, which is very hard to kill actually. So what you basically do is deck yourself in one turn, and this is why we have Gaia's Blessing, because we don't want to get decked every single turn. And what this does, target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from their graveyard into their library. Draw a card, and when this is put into graveyard from library, shuffle graveyard into your library. So basically you have 2 modes to do it. You can either take it to your hand especially when you can select it with the Lich, and then you can use the shuffling part that you just take 3 cards that you really want, and you just basically draw it every single turn, because you always need to make sure that you have 2 Gaia's Blessing in the hand, graveyard, whatever. Like, you need both of them. So that's some vulnerability. If the enemy destroys one of this, you need to stop using the Lich, so probably kill it in some way, which isn't hard. Like, you can kill it anytime you want. And if the enemy doesn't, you can draw every single card from your deck as long as you like, because you play the Gaia's Blessing, you take it to the library, you draw a card, then this makes you select it. So you just take, for example, Raska Contempt because you want to remove something, and you still have the other blessing. And then it goes to the graveyard and shuffles all the deck. So you can play a Ritual and draw like 5 cards and select what you want. So it goes extremely crazy, and I know it's already way too long of an introduction, but this deck is insane in some ways, and it's really good against very aggressive decks, because in the end you have a deck that really doesn't care about HP at all. You have so much life gain that you have like 40 damage that they need to deal, and even if they deal 40 damage, you still have Lich Mastery and you don't care about your life. So you can go, like, when they finally get you to this 1 life, you just play Lich Mastery, have full graveyard and 1 Revitalize in the hand, and next turn, like, you overwhelm them with all the cards and all the control. So it's really good versus aggressive decks, thanks to the fact that you can have both card draw and life gain in the same place pretty much. And even if you don't have life, you just switch the mode to infinity. So yeah, we also have Emergence Zone, because it's hard to cast Lich Mastery very often, because moment you cast it, you usually get a huge hit, like 10 or 15. So sometimes it's not easy. And if you can flash it, even, like, it costs 8 mana, so that's not like little, but if you can manage to do it even at 1 HP, it's completely enough. If you have this in play and start the turn, like, you can do everything. And usually it's very easy to just draw 5 cards and get a sweeper and clear the board, and that's it. So that's why we have 1 Emergence Zone. And the Reliquary Tower is something I really like. It's not probably the most required part, but I just like it, because then you can stack 15, 20, 30 cards, and the enemy will just scoop most of the time, because they can't battle this card advantage. And if you don't have it, you can draw your whole deck, and at the end of the turn you discard it and you have 7 answers. So that's not half as good as having all of them every single turn. Okay, and we have Consecrate. This is good just to stay alive longer, and aggressive decks always have some big hitter, like, I don't know, even Muxus. Like, you can hit Sorcery Speed with this, so if you heal for 12 and prevent 12 damage dealt, that's a game dealer. So you can even just wait for Sweeper and win without Lich Mastery. Okay, so that's the deck. Oh, and let's go for the sideboard. It's quite standard, reduced to memory. So we can answer Planewalkers and things like this. Pass Summoning to help our Lich Mastery and prevent some damage, and draw cards with gain life. And Mascot Exhibition for, like, beat down in the end when we aren't sure how to end the game. Because as you can see, we don't really have much ways to end the game. Usually we kill with Murderous Riders. Even if they die, we just get them back with Gaia's Blessing. And this one, and it takes 5 turns. So this one is really important. And for this reason, we never want to exile all of Cram Sessions, because that's our only learn card. We could go for something like Crawling Barrens probably, but I just don't use it, but you can test a lot. And we also have Grim Tutor. for finding those sweepers or Lich Mastery when we need them. We don't care about life moment we use Lich Mastery, so 3 damage doesn't really count so much, and with so much healings that we are above the standard life anyway. So we are one of the few decks that actually can run this. Okay, and let's go to the games because I'm pretty sure everyone except me is already sleeping, so I'm sorry for the long introduction, but this deck is so unique and so deserving your time. So even just for trying it once, I think it's good call to find some different flavor of Magic and not the usual red goes face or control goes counter spell. Okay, and let's go to the games for everyone that stayed so far. Okay, so I quite like this hand. We have everything, so no, the problem is that the enemy is starting, but that's fine. We have 3 good lands. We have a lot of life gain, Sweeper, and Lich Mastery. Lich Mastery isn't super needed at this point, but it's fine to have it. Like, it's easier to make plays. And of course, for some reason, we get matched into control, which never really happens, especially in this league. Like, okay, I guess we can just hit it randomly at the first game. So, yeah, that's okay, okay. That will be interesting because if the enemy doesn't have an exile effect, they cannot kill us this way. Because we have Gaia's Blessing and they will cycle themselves into the deck. So, okay, so I'm really curious. It's very possible they have some exile effect like every deck should have. But that's fine. That will be a very hilarious game. So the problem is how to make sure that the enemy doesn't exile the Gaia's Blessing. And for this reason I think I will leave the Consecrate if I can, because the Consecrate will probably hit something like this 1 mana, I don't remember the name, but the escape one that draws cards or heals 3 life, depends what you exile. So yeah. You can just draw, do your stuff. So the first one isn't problematic, the Eternalize is a bit more problematic, but that's long way. Okay, and good evaluation by the enemy that we aren't an aggressive deck at all. We barely have creatures, so yeah. I actually don't mind the crap. Like, we can kill it, but I'm not sure if I should. Okay, and Grim Tutor is huge. Like, we could think about, we could think of something that is good in this matchup. At the moment, I can't. I'm sure there's needs to be something good. So Wrath is reasonable, I guess. Maybe Kaya. We could go for Oath of Kaya and then go Kaya. I'm not sure if they can kill it easily. And they they have this. So I guess. I'm not really sure what we should do. So let's do it like this. Oh, the enemy is really pushing it. And I will help him to Eternalize. At this point probably the enemy is super confused because the Ruin crap is the big problem for most of the decks, but I think not for us. Oh, hi! I'm sorry for this, so as you can see, we have a very strong matchup versus at the meal deck. I really feel bad for the Hello, but imagine this: you are going to the ladder with your meal deck because you heard it's so good and you always win, and you hit the deck that mains to Gaia's Blessing for no reason and Lich Master. So as you can see, this deck really can have good matchups with some weird decks, and it's also very good versus aggro that I hope we will see. Alright, and we are going first. We don't have Lich Master, but that's fine. What is a problem maybe in this hand is that we have a lot of removal, but not really any card draw, but that's completely fine. We can cycle this, and it's against some kind of white deck. I want to make sure that we use the Heartless Act. I would prefer to play this, just to save HP, but they have some stuff that's scary. If you would gain life, gain that... okay. Yeah, let's kill it right now. We could go for a sweeper, but I don't want to give them like too easy way out. Okay, now we won't go for the rider, because we should wait for a sweeper a bit, and I hope that we've shown that we don't have a sweeper if we go for spot removal. Okay, so this will be 4 damage attack probably, and that's fine, but in order to make it work, he really needs to float the gate, and that's quite good. And we say go. Like, we could even kill it, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. I think he has only 4 cards, so let's encourage him to play those. Okay, and we got a prime target for our rider. Like, oh man, I don't like this one. Let's hold the mana, maybe it will make him think. Joke, of course it won't. So the planewalkers are a big issue. Like, we have 4 riders, so it's not the worst, but that's still serious thing. And I think we can play the rider like this. So right now we pretend we play for the board with the enemy. So I hope the enemy thinks that we don't really have anything. The main idea is to force him to float the board, and the moment he does, we just sweep. It might be this turn. And that's perfect because he pumped a lot, and we can just block it, so we don't really lose anything with sweeper. Like, we lost 2 HP, and the enemy has everything on the board. And we even have the ritual. Okay, so thank you for your service. We aren't in a hurry, we have 17 life and 3 cards, and all of them gain life. So with this deck you usually... like, bro, come on. No, not enough Ajanis. Okay, this is sorcery speed, so actually it's very important that we kill it right now. Otherwise he can like pump it in response. And we also need to get rid of Ajani. To be honest, that's a very good draw from the enemy. They have all cleric class, a lot of minions, and still double Ajani. We had perfect answer, but that's problematic to be honest. Okay. So, I really like to have the rider, because the moment we hit the Lich Master, we can attack, and it already gives us 2 cards. And I guess, like, no, we don't need to. We won't play both anyway. So I would get probably this one, because we don't need life, and this one is 1 more card if we hit Mastery. Okay, change of plans, we won't be able to play both, so we need the cheap one. I don't think the enemy does anything. So what we are doing is just try to dig for the mastery. And like, honestly, I think we just need to kill it. And we mostly want to kill it just so we heal, and the enemy is at lower life, so if he hits another Ajani, it cannot use the ultimate. And most of his deck like uses HP in some way. Okay, that's not the worst one. So it's 5 damage, we have quite a lot of time, and yeah, they don't have discard. Whenever you gain life, 1 counter, so probably like 6 damage. So we don't want to use it because that's our win condition, and it sounds funny, but that's actually a win condition. So moment we hit the Lich Master, we will play it, we attack for 2 cards and get 4 cards, and probably this is how we win. And his attacks aren't super scary because we heal 2 damage every turn, so we have like at least 2-3 turns more. And this, if he buffs the damage, right now it's 3 damage a turn, so not scary at all. But it would be great to stop drawing lands every single turn. That never helps. Probably we could go for Castle Lochwain, I guess, because we have a lot of life to spare, but I didn't retry it. Okay, that's something, I guess. I want him to play a bit more before we clear the board. So we are doing the land wars, but I appreciate that the enemy is quite quick with this. Problem is at some point we need to clear the board just for this one minion. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your service. Okay, so we will gain life, and we could rough the board on this turn in case we get Lich Mastery, but that's such a low probability, and we will win anyway if we get it. So not really any reason to do it. Okay, so let's get more. You always want to attack with Rider, because you will get 2 additional life this way. And that's very good play by the enemy, but he's already at 41, so it's not like we super care. So I trade my 2 life for his 7, and also this won't trigger at the end step because he won't have an Anger at the end step. So right now we can clear, so we pretty much wait until we get Lich Master and win the game. So the turn we get it, it's game over, and we can even cycle. Okay, and that's a draw I like. And it's even better. So if you thought Kaya isn't good in this deck, you can see already. Like, she destroyed like 10 mana drop, and she just started. Okay, and we have even removal. So I think we are going so well that we won't even need the Lich Master. But if we get it, it's just much easier. Like, we have 2. We really should hit one of them sooner or later. And we can play every card with Flash if we really want to. But do we? I don't think so. So let's heal a bit. And we always catch this 1 card because that's our win condition always. And you always want 1 creature and 1 non-creature. So we maximize the HP. So as you can see, we have been fighting for so long, and in the end we still have 16. And this is something we will have to kill. But I think we can wait. It will be quite hard to kill Kaya, with Kaya ultimate, but we will do our best. But it will take quite a while, probably up to 10, before we can kill. So, I don't think enemy has something that protects, but they have green, so we will do it anyway. and he has plenty of mana, so I don't think that's good idea to wait. And we are back to 20. So any moment. And I was playing at some point at 4 Lich Mastery, but this really isn't the card that you want to get flooded with. Like that's not how you do it. Okay, one we can play. And we have so much mana that we can use the smaller one. And of course, in the end we get land. But we are half the deck through, so at some point it has to work.
To bad rubbish.
And we are at 28, so that's the point. You don't really need to do anything until they threat killing you, and it's so hard to kill you. Even here, like, he can give me 2 life attacking Kaya. Normally he probably would, but at this point it just doesn't make sense for him. Yep. So let's keep going up. Yes, that's what we wanted. Okay, and now you can see the power of Lich Mastery. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So, and you know what? We could even just... Okay, we are doing this. Just so you can see how amazing this is. And we use the Reliquary Tower, because we have no maximum hand size. And suddenly the world is a better place. And I will even use this one. Only to save Kaya, because she's quite important right now. She's our win condition. Like, we can pump her every single turn. Okay, and moment we untap, the game is pretty much won. So, let's draw some cards, shall we?
I hope you said your goodbyes already.
So let's get 2 cards at first. And maybe Crime Session. So as you can see, moment we got the thing, the game became much easier than before. Okay, and we have double tutor, so we could get a lot, but I think the mascot thing is quite good already. We can go for additional HP, so if anything happens we have everything. And I think we played the land, so those are the cyclones. So as you can see, moment we got the Lich Mastery, we have 18 cards in our hand, and the enemy got an Angel. So I'm not sure if we can win anyway. And we will do trick that will make you disappear, just for YouTube, because that's something I really like. No, you wait, Kaya. So, you do this, and we will act surprised when the enemy pumps. Okay? And this is a little trick you can do with this. Oh look, it's a sorcery speed. And we won't play it already, and like right now. Yep, you pump it, and suddenly we consume. Please sacrifice the Ender. And given us 5 power, we will gain 5 life. So it means 5 additional cards at the instant speed. And we can get the emergency zone with Gaia Blessing anyway. Okay. And we can actually play everything at flash speed, because why not? So even Grim Tutor at the end step. Okay, and exactly as planned, we want to make sure the Angel isn't here, and the enemy is really like strong-hearted to still play. And as you can see, guys, usually the riders are quite good, yeah, to finish the enemy, because we don't have much power, but it's already 6 damage, 10, 6, yeah, like 15 damage a turn, so that's good enough. And yeah, we will show our enemy that we still don't care about his stuff. Oh, I didn't see we don't have library, but that's completely fine. I wonder if the enemy was aware that we don't care about this. So let's go cram session. We don't draw card. We could if we want, but I don't care because we just want to get rid of Heliod. I think the enemy might not realize what's happening and why I didn't lose. Yeah, we are gaining like 4 cards. Okay, please exile it. So with this deck, when you start going off, you can answer literally any permanent and anything except counter spells. And that's an argument for 1 duress. So now please remove this one. Okay, and now we can have some fun and shuffle whatever we actually want. So maybe go this, maybe cram session, and maybe reduce to memory, because why not? Yep. And we can get more mascot exhibition and draw everything. So you can clearly see we can pretty much do every single thing. With this deck. We can use multiple cards for the same turn. Those riders draw 6 cards even. And this is standard, like mono-white deck list, so they really cannot really answer it after you've gained so much life and swept the board. And the Lich Master just helps you cross the game very easily. So they will nearly die next turn. We'll probably use double mascot exhibition. And I have a feeling that the enemy might be roping, so that's something to think about, I guess. I think I will just cut the video because there's no reason to wait. Yeah, so as expected, enemy was roping for full 4 turns, but I really wanted to give you like the impression that when you play this deck, it just feels like, you know, the Arc Lich unlimited power thing. You have all the cards at disposal, you play by different rules than the enemy, you don't lose when you overdraw, you can use every single card as much as you like, they are reusable. It just really feels, you know, this Lich vibe that you have something, like you have different kind of power than the other mages. So I really like this feeling about this deck. It's just different than whatever ever you played, and it really feels like you have different rules for the game than the others. Alright, so we go first, and it's some kind of Yorion dog, the deck, which Murderous Rider is fine, I guess, but we have long way to go, because sweepers aren't very useful. But we will see what exactly this deck is about. I won't be using Gaia's Blessing yet. Okay, and this is some kind of creature deck, so that's interesting. I didn't see this one. When Ambitious Farm Hunt enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic plains, reveal, put hand, and shuffle. And it has Coven, Transform. And it's 3/3. Okay, so that's interesting creature. I think I want to be able to remove something. But probably we should... Okay, that's prime target for removal. If it's a land card, you may put into the battlefield. Yeah, there's no reason to kill it before it triggers. Okay, so it's some kind of landfall deck. Which, okay, that will be tricky to kill. I guess we could sweep the board, but I think this deck like goes really wide with the tokens, so probably we will have better situation. This will be for cycling, I think. So let's go like this. We can use the land without paining ourselves. So next turn we have 5 mana and we can cycle and Gaia Blessing. So it's 2 extra cards. This one is fine. It's full turn from the enemy for 2 damage, so actually that's best use I could have from those cards. I'm not sure if he has any kind of graveyard hate. I don't think he should, but he has white color and some strange cards, so maybe. But I guess we could still risk it. So that's something we are going to do for sure. And maybe does the enemy have... okay. Sometimes you can shuffle enemy cards if he has some bad cards. Okay, and that's fine. So usually with this deck we want some kind of beatdown decks that try to kill you as fast as possible, because we are very hard to kill, and kind of decks that do combo stuff aren't great for us. We need to try to outvalue them, but this deck is strange. Like this suggests landfall, and this is more of a, I guess, mono white. It's strange. It's not very aggressive, and it's not very... like, those cards aren't really scary. So I guess it's entering the battlefield and blinking, maybe? Yeah, so it's more of a blinking deck, I guess. This is the only card that's really scary for me. The rest one is manageable. But we really need to stop drawing lands every single turn, always. Okay, so how much damage is it? I don't think we need to do it yet. Like, we can cycle, we can use Helpless Act. This is the only one that's scary, really. It's not super much damage. Like, we are at 6, but at the same time we have so much healing. Okay, at the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 creature you control, then return the card to the battlefield. Target. So we could kill the target. He probably will use this one, I think. Let's cycle and see what card we will get. Okay. And let's see what he targets. I think the militia. Or maybe the farm hunt if he is short for planes. Because he doesn't really have super much. Like, he has the same amount, but he had Reason Reef. Not sure if he got London. I didn't really check this one. But I think he should go for militia. And then we can counter it and kill it. Power 2 or less. His whole deck is creatures like this. But I think we have double Wrath, so we just try to stall a bit. Like, the card isn't scary, and okay, that was a goose. So that's pretty fine. So let's kill everything, we get the token, and that's really neat. And I think, like, let's check if he has elementals. I don't think he has, but he has a lot of blinking. So for this reason we will leave this one. He probably will play the Reason Reef and try to blink it, and then we try to kill it. Yeah. So he can only put it into play as a land card. Okay. Okay, I hoped opponent controls. Sure. I like this card. It's not great, but I like it. Okay, and I will wait until he targets something and then kill it. Yep. And that was our plan all along. And he doesn't have Snake Veil Proof or anything like this. Okay, so we can go for the Cram session, and I don't know what we will take. I think we probably will destroy this one. Yeah, because that's his main idea, and he doesn't really do a lot of damage, frankly. So it's 5 damage. I don't think he will be able to kill us. And if he will, then okay, my bad. But he doesn't have anything aggressive, no damage, no haste, and 5 damage is fine. We can even heal out of this if we really want to. Okay, and the enemy is playing patiently, waiting for my sweeper. That's very good by him. And I think we just consume. Yeah, because he has a lot of creatures that we could even consecrate, but as always we didn't get the Lich Master, which is kind of the point. If we had it, I think I would play it right now. And next time we would win, probably. So what we are doing, I think we just use the consume. This way we get additional turn, we destroy the creature and force him to play something more to the board. So as you can see, this token that we created is even useful. In a way. And the goose made an egg. It was so scary. Oh, so that was a great quality joke for you guys. If he plays Yorion, he doesn't really get anything out of this. And 2 damages turn isn't scary at all. Okay, search party captain. 4 mana, 2/2, this spell costs 1 less for attacking creatures, and you draw a card, so nothing really big. But it's 2 power, so it makes sense with his deck, I guess. Yet this doesn't really... Oh, I like this card already. Whenever a creature is exiled from the battlefield, put 1/1 counter. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile another target creature you control, and then return, so you blink it. Okay, interesting. But it gets back to the board instantly, so that's not something that will protect him. And I think I will rough this board. It's already enough that we can slowpoke it. Those 2 cards are very useful if we hit finally the Lich Mastery that this deck is about. And at this rate, I will make a 3rd Lich Mastery just for this video, because I really need to start hitting it sometimes. Yep, you got the counter. I generally could exile and draw a card and try to speed things up, but it's very important to have this thing. And we clear the board. And that's the point of this deck. You cannot be really killed because you heal so much, and they need to like commit to the board, and when they do, you sweep the board. So they are afraid to commit the board and start making 1, 2 creatures, and then you just out-heal them. So it's very hard for the enemy to like match what he's doing. And he never knows if you have sweepers or not. So I think at this point we only need this as a pair to Lich Mastery. That's a very good card by him. And he can blink it with Yorion. Yep, so as you can see, enemy was waiting with a lot of better creatures, but this combo was enough that we had to destroy it somehow. So he's only drawing cards in a way. Something we will also do if we ever manage to hit what we wanted. So we could wait for Yorion, I guess. Yeah, because it's not really an elemental. Nothing is elemental here. So we keep this one and say go. So as always, we are waiting for Lich Mastery. Then we have 3, 6 mana, and we can play the Revitalize and have a lot of cards in our graveyard. We probably could just kill this one. I think it's good enough. I don't think he has any elemental in the deck except the Reef, and we killed most of them. So let's go for the higher damage. This way he's forced into playing something more. Yep. So as you can see, if he has small board, even if we have very little HP, that's not great. So he gets one additional card. And I think we can consume because Yorion is quite big and it heals by a lot. So we get even more time and more time and more time, and at some point we will draw the card that we need, and then the fun begins. We could even go for the Cram Session. Okay, and I think with the Cram Session that gives us 4 life, we could also go for a Vitalize. But at this point let's do first this. Gain 4 life again. So this is interesting. We could either go for the Cram Session and Mascot Exhibition, or try to fish for Lich Mastery. And I think at this point it might be a bit better to do it like this. Because 1 card isn't a huge deal, and 7 drop is a huge deal. And we are doing relatively fine. Like, not great, but I guess quite fine. And we can play it next turn very easily. So let the enemy do his magic. And I think this removes non-token. Non-land, non-token. So they cannot even Skyclave it. So the fact he's playing the Goose is very good for us. And we got beat down so much this game, and look, we are at 14 HP. Oh my god, it actually happened. I cannot believe. Okay, so that's what we are doing. We will have 1 white, 1 green, and this is the whole point of the deck. And in reality, I think it's fine. Because maybe we should play it at the end step, but then we can play the land and the enemy doesn't really have a discard or anything. Good, so let's start the fun. And this one is fine. Yep, we need a lot of mana because we have a lot of things to do. And we have 13 cards in the graveyard, so the enemy cannot really make a dent. And with this deck you really need to be careful what you exile, because what you have in the graveyard is nearly the same as your deck. So if you destroy your graveyard, that's not great, needless to say. And we will do something like this. We need the other blessing, that's super important. You always need to have 2. If you waste the second one, you lose the game and you cannot do any tricks. So we get life gain, and let's get life gain for now, because for now we just need as much draw as possible so we can get into the huge, the huge drawing phase that we want. I won't play land in case I get land I want, so the one with unlimited hand. And here we go with the second mastery. So right now we are starting to draw quite a lot of cards. I would really hope that we get what we want with the land, but we could risk it again, but I don't think it's worth it. So it goes tapped, and we could even remove one of the cards, because why not? We have so much and we will discard even more. So as you can see, 1 turn after Lich Master we have 10 cards and it just goes better. You can always discard the second one. We don't like pain lands, so that's what you usually want to discard. This one is always good. And for this one you need to exile 2 cards. Oh man, enjoy. Enjoy whatever you want. Especially that I can play anything anyway if I really want. And that was one of the worst choice. I think he should go for Revitalize, because that's the big thing, and maybe the Wrath of God, because that's what I really want to play. That's the win condition for you, bro. Does the enemy has some counter spell? Like, he has those cards, but I'm not sure what are they. Nothing really obvious comes to mind. He would play all of them, I think. So maybe some creature removal or something like this. Like maybe more apparitions, because they don't have a target anyway. Oh, and Lich is great. Like, moment we hit the board with the Lich, it's extremely fun. And you know what? I will do it. I just don't care for waiting in anymore, and I will just get what I want to get. So, hi. That's my card. And yes, I will pay my life. So at this point you don't really want a tutor even. Okay, and the enemy is roping like crazy. I guess he don't like being destroyed by Lich Master, and I can understand it. And I don't want the green tutor. So you need to be very selective about what you are like removing. And we could sweep everything, but why would you sweep everything when you can just draw more cards? And we had 10 cards, right now we are at 11, and it gets better. So the enemy already sees how far behind he is. Emergency zone is quite good even now. Okay. And okay, I will make some order in the deck, just so you aren't mad at me. Okay, and the enemy was doing something, we don't really care. Emergency zone is fine. And we can go full power just for you guys, it's not needed, and we are doing very good without it. But with the Lich, it's even better. He cannot Skyclave apparition this, and we have 11 cards. So, what we are going to do is tutor every single card we want from the deck, and just do it all over again and over again. And usually when the enemy sees what you are capable of, that you can you have unlimited cards, and you can use every single card like 5 times a turn, because you can just get it back to library and so on. Like they scoop, because like they cannot outvalue you. You have unlimited value in the deck, and they have 1 card a turn, while you have like 10 or 15, and you can use the same card, you can tutor cards, like you can do everything. Okay, and Kaya is very good. For this deck I like Kaya more than I should. So we have Gaia, Mastery, and that's a very important card here. So let's go for Kaya. It will get Skyclave Apparition, so we can as well remove something. We don't need a life gain, because... And we will kill the Skyclave Apparition, so this will help us in reality. So we ended with 16 cards and 24 on the go here, but that's for next turn. So you can really see how powerful the Lich Master is moment you get it and start drawing cards. Like, it's usually 1 or 2 turns that you have every card from your deck. So I'm not sure what the idea is here. I assume that the enemy thinks that he has some answer maybe in the deck. You need to be careful. If they have something like remove all enchantments, you will lose the game anyway, whatever happens. And white color has those things. Yep. So we will always wait. Yep. And we kill it in the end step, so the token can attack during our turn. So what they really did is deal 3 damage to themselves that we wouldn't be able to normally. So thank you. The only issue is that it's exiled, I believe, so we won't get it, but that's not really a problem. Let's get land, and let's start doing all the shenanigans that we want. So, Gaia Blessing. And what would we like? I think we can get not Cram Session. This one is very good. Oh, and we need something else, whatever. We won't take it anyway. So, guess what? We will take the Revitalize. This gets shuffled. And yep. The enemy usually doesn't understand how it works, and when he does, he sees that we can do it over and over and over, and we will never deck out of value. And that's still with 17 cards in the deck, in the hand, sorry. So yeah, that's the power of this deck, and that was like also the enemy had very strange deck, to be honest. Alright, what I like about this hand: lands, tower, and a lot of life gain and drawing. What I don't like is this Lich, because it's useless for a long time. But given we have so much draw and so much life gain, I think we should survive. And this tutor is quite good. The problem is we don't have double black, so we need to think, maybe we can actually use the Cram Session once for environmental science, because I think we had once one. And man, what the hell with those strange decks today? Okay, so what do we need for the Grim Tutor? Double black. So it will be quite late. Maybe we should just remove this one. Okay, we will do it this way. Because drawing is a bit too slow, and that was something to be sure of, that they will have other elementals. They kept this hand for a reason. Yeah, go with you. Yeah, more elementals. So this might be an issue for the tutor. So do we do this? That's a very important decision, because we are getting hit for 7 or 6 a turn. It might be higher even. So, if we do this, we play this, next turn we have 2 mana only. So that's not something I really think is great. I think we try to draw. So as you can see, there are some super aggressive decks that even with all the life gain, Green Tutor is problematic. But if we got the right mana, this turn we could do it. I think. At some point I hope he just lacks the land and he won't be able to pump so much. But they always run the sacrifice land, so that's a bit of a problem even. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So that's a choice. So it's 7 damage. We could go for a sweeper. But is it the right plan? Maybe the better plan would be to get a swamp, or maybe even tutor for the Lich Master. But we don't have a lot of cards in the graveyard, so I don't think so. If we use the Rider, when they pump it, it's still good life gain. Oh man, that's super hard. We could go for Pass, but it's not mana efficient, to be honest. Grim Tutor isn't great. We don't have much time, so we will go like this and just Cram Session for the next turn, because it gives us a lot of life. So either the Science, or I think we go for the Star. Yeah, it cannot block this one, but something will come, and then he cannot attack with the elf, and so on, so on. Probably that wasn't the optimal play, to be honest, but I didn't have much time. Probably I should use this land and use the rider. That wasn't a lot of damage, but being at 6 is a bit too low. Even though the next turn could be Lich Mastery, but still that's the better play, I feel. Does enemy have bad cards? Not really. If they have, sometimes it's good to shuffle them back. So we want the Act, we want Revitalize, and I don't think we want the Summoning. It's a bit too slow. This one is fine, but not the best. We have better things in the deck. Okay, I guess. So the elf cannot attack, so it's 6 damage at the best, unless they pump with some land and so on. Okay? And at this point I will do it like this. So if the enemy removes one, the other one still lives. Okay. It's getting intense, really. So if we kill it, we could use the Lich. Yeah, I think that's the good idea. And it's hard to kill. Do we have 3 black? 1, 2, 3. So maybe we play this one. It's a bit more risky, but at the same time additional card is huge, so sometimes it might save us. It all depends what the enemy has in the hand. If he has removal and land, it's like we cannot do much. And even if he attacks, we need to sacrifice the Lich. Okay. So that's best we can do. We cannot save Lich because we have too little HP. Okay, so we cannot use tutor anymore. What can we do? We probably can play the land. This one isn't great. I think what we have to do, and let's see, do we have anything we want? Yeah, we want. So we want Gaia Blessing. This one is useless, so we go for this, and this is too slow right now. Okay? And that's fine. So it gets higher, but it doesn't get anything, and I think we can risk it. So let's go for the rider because it gives us life gain and we still can kill something. So I hope for the land drop and attack, so then the enemy gets surprised. Of course they have it. Because maybe enemy has something with haste, but he didn't want to use it right now because he thinks maybe I don't have an answer. Okay, it's starting to get better. Good. And as we want that, let's cycle. We could go for the Grim Tutor, and that's a hard choice. It's possible we should do it. If he has Brush Fire Elemental and some sacrifice land, he can pump 5 damage with haste. Yeah, let's do it, because we can go for Lich Master anyway. And if we have 9 lands, and we have 4, 8... Okay, that's worse. But then the enemy doesn't have anything else. Okay, so we can go for Lich Mastery, and it's super risky, but we have Sweeper. Or we can wait. If we get something that heals, that's great. And how much? I think we have 8. 5, 8. So if we get any kind of land... Okay, I think enemy would kill us if he could. So let's go for this. And it's super ballsy play, to be honest. Like, we are at 4 HP and we are just begging to die. We could go for Kaya as well. But this is Lich Mastery video, and if he doesn't get perfect answer this turn, he needs a haste and 4 damage somehow that he didn't have last turn. So even the Brush Fire Elemental with haste won't do it, and that was the correct play. And we also get the bonus points of making the enemy die to Lich Mastery, which always feels amazingly rewarding. On the wrong side we drew 4 lands, so yeah, but that's fine, and we have a sweeper, we have a lot of cards in the graveyard, so each one of those is pretty much gain 1 life. So the enemy cannot finish us. We have like 10 or 15 life, and we could even sacrifice lands. So moment Lich Mastery comes into play, they need control over the game and not just finishing touch to get you at 0. So what we had, 4 cards in the hand, so it's 4 life, 7 in the graveyard, so 11, 12, and we could sacrifice land up to 5 or something, so we were nearly at 20 HP. And every single card like this that we drew would win us the game. Even the Grim Tutor, because we play 3, like pay 3 life, we exile 3 cards and get something like Rejuvenation, Ritual, or even this, and we suddenly have full hand. So there is a limit to how many lands you can draw. And the enemy didn't have anything to finish us. So as you can see, against any kind of aggressive deck, it's very good deck, because you mostly heal, and when you are at nearly death state, you just play Mastery, and you are invincible, like a Lich that you are.